Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Cher, and today we are going to be reviewing the album Life Beyond LA by Ambrosia. As always, we rank the album in 3 categories: context, the songs themselves on the album, and then finally the album cover itself. Who Ambrosia is, and so to go into that, they are a 70s band, and it was composed of guitarist David Peck, bassist Jim Puerta, keyboardist Christopher North, and drummer Burleigh Drummond, which is kind of funny. While they initially were a prog rock band, like I said, they found their roots best in jazz rock, or as now we call it, yacht rock, as the 70s moved closer and closer to the 80s. And that was a big time for this genre, especially you can see examples like the Doobie Brothers and my favorite, Christopher Cross. Because of this musical genre change, the keyboardist actually ended up leaving the band at this time, so the band became a trio as they headed towards their 3rd album. Another big change for this 3rd album is they were now being managed by Warner Brothers. They signed a deal with them, and all of this change can be heard with inside the album itself. The change from prog rock to jazz rock, the departure of their keyboardist, and most importantly, the more money and production put into the creation of this album by Warner Brothers. Life Beyond LA was released in 1978 and ended up being their best charting album ever. It topped at number 19 on the Billboard charts, and the song How Much I Feel became their best single, reaching number 3 on the Hot 100 at the time. While there isn't too much context on the creations of each specific song, there's some good themes in here. Most noticeably, the changes that the band is going through, human indifference, and probably most emphatically, the idea of love is shown a lot. I think the context of this album is actually really interesting, and I didn't know a lot about it before researching this album when creating this video, and I got to appreciate the music more as I saw how much change the band was going through, and it ended up paying off for them. So overall and context-wise, I give this a score of 3 out of 5 in this category. I really enjoyed learning more about it. It isn't the most well-known, but it is still very cool. Now let's get into the next category, the tracks themselves, and I can confidently say that I've listened to all their albums. This by far is my favorite album based off the tracks here. The title track, Life Beyond LA, is an amazing opener and gives you a fresh view of where this band is headed and what it wants to do. The next song, Art Beware, doesn't tend to be one of my favorite tracks, but I know a lot of people who do like it. Actually, my friend who showed me this band, Remy, that's his favorite song off this album. And if it wasn't for him showing me that song, then eventually the album itself, I would have never gotten into this band and learned how great hits they have made. If Heaven Could Find Me is an energetic pop hit, while How Much I Feel and Dancing by Myself share just the same amazing energy, but with more of a slower pace and feel to it. Finally, the last track I really like on this album is Angola, which is kind of a deviation from the normal songs you hear throughout the album, and I really admire that change of scenery for a little bit on the second half. I will say that second half tends to drag a little bit towards the end. Overall, I like 5 out of the 10 tracks, which puts it at a perfect 50%, or a 2.5 out of 5 in this category. So not a bad score at all, and for a band that people don't really know at all, has some really good hidden gems in there. The final category, of course, is the cover art. And while it's not necessarily the greatest thing or the most iconic, it is pretty cool. I would say it's the best visually that they had so far, but they ended up making a cooler one. I think is their final album cover is my favorite of theirs. This is funny that it was released in the late 70s, but it has a very 80s aesthetic to it with like the dark gloominess with the bright neon contrast. It's not bad by any means, but I would say it's pretty right in the middle of the road. Once again, I probably would give this a 50% or a 2.5 out of 5 for this category. Nothing outstanding, but still pretty good for what it is. That makes the final score an 8 out of 15, which is just above half, which I think perfectly describes this album. For someone who's never heard of them, you know, it's nothing world-changing or out of the blue, especially at this time of music in the late 70s. But if you haven't heard them, those hidden gems that you haven't maybe listen to are great to add to one's discography or one's playlist. I think the record is easy to put on and easy to connect and resonate with. It doesn't take a lot of deep thinking or knowing about what this band is. It just has some good simple pop songs that you can sit back and enjoy for the 40 minutes it's on. This is a pretty good score, as now we've hit 5 record reviews now in this series, so it kind of shows a good spectrum of scores that we've reviewed so far and kind of where I like them and where I don't like them. But join me next time as we look at our next album, Days of Wine and Roses by Andy Williams. This is a very big switch up from what we've listened to so far. I think it's been fun to listen to the pop of ABBA and Ambrosia, the rock of AC/DC, the soulfulness of Adele, and now we get to go to some good old-fashioned crooner stuff. So tune into that as always. Like, comment, subscribe, and other videos if you haven't. Tune into the other stuff that the creators have made on this channel. Shout out to all of them. Hope you guys are doing well. Much love to you all. And of course, I'll see you around.